This is the story of Mike Mulligan and a steam shovel, read by M for Lila, Brecken, and Scout. Mike Mulligan had a steam shovel, a beautiful red steam shovel, and her name was Mary Ann. Mike Mulligan was very proud of Mary Ann. He always said she could dig as much in a day as 100 men could dig in a week, but he'd never been quite sure that this was true. Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann had been digging together for years and years. Mike Mulligan took such good care of Mary Ann, she never grew old. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who dug the great canals for the big boats to sail through. It was Mike Mulligan and some others who cut through the high mountains so the trains could go through. It was Mike Mulligan and some others who lowered the hills and straightened the curves to make the long highways for the automobiles. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who smoothed out the holes and filled in the holes to make the landing fields for the airplanes to come in and land. And it was Mike Mulligan and some others who dug the deep holes for the cellars of the tall skyscrapers in the big cities. When people used to stop and watch them, Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dug a little faster and a little better. The more people stopped, the faster and better they dug. Some days they would keep as many as 37 trucks busy taking away the dirt that they had dug. But then along came the new gasoline shovels and the new electric shovels and the new diesel motor shovels, and they took all the jobs away from the steam shovels. Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann were very sad. All the other steam shovels were being sold for junk or left in old gravel pits to rust and fall apart. Mike loved Mary Ann. He couldn't do that to her. He had taken such good care of her that she could still dig as much in a day as 100 men could dig in a week. At least he thought she could, but he wasn't quite sure. Everywhere they went, the new gas shovels and the new electric shovels and the new diesel motor shovels had all the jobs. No one wanted Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann anymore. Then one day, Mike read a newspaper that said that the town of Popperville was going to build a new town hall. "Were you going to build the cellar of that town hall?" said Mike to Mary Ann, and off they started. They left the canals and the railroads and the highways and the airports and the big cities where no one wanted them anymore, and they went out into the country. They crawled along slowly up the hills and down the hills till they came to the little town of Popperville. When they got there, they found the selectmen were just deciding who should dig the cellar for the new town hall. Mike Mulligan said to Henry B. Swap, one of the selectmen, "I heard," he said, "that you're going to build a new town hall. Mary Ann and I will dig the cellar for you in just one day." "What?" said Henry B. Swap. "Dig a cellar in a day? It would take 100 men at least a week to dig the cellar for our new town hall." "Sure," said Mike, "but Mary Ann can dig as much in a day as 100 men can dig in a week," though he never been quite sure that this was true. Then he added, "If we can't do it, you won't have to pay." Now Henry B. Swap thought that this would be an easy way to get part of the cellar dug for nothing. So he smiled in a rather mean way and gave the job of digging the cellar of the new town hall to Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. They started in early the next morning, just as the sun was beginning to come up. Soon a little boy came along. "Do you think you'll finish by sundown?" he said to Mike Mulligan. "Well, sure," said Mike. "If you stay and watch us, we always work faster and better when someone's watching us." So the little boy stayed to watch. Then Mrs. McGillicuddy, Henry B. Swap, and the town constable came over to see what was happening, and they stayed to watch. Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dug a little faster and a little better. Now this gave the boy a good idea. He ran off and told the postman with the morning mail, the telegraph boy and his bicycle, the milkman with his cart and horse, and the farmer and his family coming into town for the day, and they all stopped and stayed to watch, and that made Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dig a little faster and a little better. They finished the first corner neat and square, but the sun was getting higher. Clang, clang, clang. The fire department arrived. They'd seen the smoke and they thought that there was a fire. Then a little boy said, "Why don't you stay and watch?" So the fire department of Popperville stayed to watch Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. And when they heard the fire engine, the children in the school across the street couldn't keep their eyes on their lessons. So they stayed to watch. The teacher called a long recess and the whole school came out to watch, and that made Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dig still faster and still better. They finished the second corner neat and square, but the sun was right in top of the sky. Now the girl that answers the telephone called up the next towns of Bangerville, Bopperville, Kipperville, and Copperville and told them what was happening in Popperville. All the people came over to see if Mike Mulligan and the steam shovel could dig the cellar in just one day. The more people came, the faster Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dug. But they had to hurry. They were only halfway through, and the sun was beginning to go down. They finished the third corner neat and square. Never had Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann so many people to watch them, and never had they dug so fast and so well, and never had the sun seemed to go down so fast. "Hurry, Mike Mulligan, hurry! You don't have much more time." Dirt was flying everywhere, and the smoke and the steam were so thick the people could hardly listen. See, but listen, bing, bang, crash, slam, louder and louder, faster and faster. Then suddenly it was quiet. Slowly the dirt settled down, and there was the cellar, all finished. 4 corners neat and square, 4 walls straight down, and Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann at the bottom, and the sun was just going down behind the hill. "Hooray!" shouted the people. "Hooray for Mike Mulligan and the steam shovel. They have dug the cellar in just one day." Suddenly the little boy said, "Hey, how are they going to get out?" "That's right," said Mrs. McGillicuddy to Henry B. Swap. "How are they going to get out?" Henry B. Swap didn't answer, but he smiled in a rather mean way. Then everybody said, "Hey, Mike Mulligan, how are you going to get out?" Mike Mulligan said, "We dug in so fast and we dug so well, 4 corners neat and square, I forgot to leave a way out." Nothing like this had ever happened to Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann before. They didn't know what to do. Well, nothing like this had ever happened in Popperville. Everybody started to talk, and everybody had a different idea, and they thought their idea was the best idea. Then Henry B. Swap said, "The job isn't finished because Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann aren't out of the cellar, so they won't get paid. And he smiled again in a rather mean way. Now the little boy, who had been keeping very quiet, had another good idea. He said, "Hey, why couldn't we leave Mary Ann in the cellar and build a new town hall above her? Let her be the furnace for the new town hall, and let Mike Mulligan be the janitor. Then they won't have to buy a new furnace, and we could pay Mike Mulligan for digging the cellar in just one day." "Why not?" said Henry B. Swap, and smiled in a way that was not quite so mean. "Why not?" said Mrs. McGillicuddy. "Why not?" said all the townspeople. So they found a ladder and they climbed down into the cellar to talk to Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. "Why not?" said Mike Mulligan. So it was decided, and everybody was happy. They built the new town hall right over Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann, and it was finished before winter. Every day the little boy goes over to see Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann, and Mrs. McGillicuddy takes some nice hot apple pies. As for Henry B. Swap, he spends most of his time in the cellar of the new town hall listening to the stories that Mike Mulligan has to tell and smiling in a way that isn't mean at all. Now, when you go to Popperville, be sure to go down in the cellar of the new town hall. There they'll be, Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann, Mike in his rocking chair, smoking his pipe, and Mary Ann beside him, warming up the meetings in the new town hall. The end.